What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Summary. Yes, the Sunday Summary for the first time with Liverpool at the top of the league this season, man. Damn, it feels good to say that. Liverpool, top of the league. Liverpool, top of the league after a big, actually an ugly win, but a huge win against Crystal Palace, guys. What's going on? It's just me this morning with you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shayna, Nick, Oyvind, Dermot, what's going on to everyone? My mother's in here as well. Hey, Mom, shout out to Dad for that cranberry stuff. If you haven't had it, it's really good. I just had some. Guys, yesterday's match, on the whole, not necessarily the best match, the prettiest match, but we got the job done. Okay, Harvey Elliott with that late winner. Match was kind of all over the place in terms of penalties and cards and all that sorts of stuff. But it doesn't matter. What does everyone think about the match yesterday? I wanted to look at the match from a perspective of who cares if we didn't play well? We got the result. What do we have now? Like 18 points from losing positions. I mean, it's remarkable how often we play from behind. And why is that a recurring theme? Why do Liverpool feel the need to play from behind all the time? And it's not a big deal if you get the result, but for me, it's just stressful. It makes the game so much more stressful when you play from behind. Hannah, what's going on? The team has become a team that is comfortable playing from that position. All right. And if they're comfortable with playing from that position, that's fine. Go ahead. Stress yourself out. Stress the fans. Get the 3 points at the very end of the match with a late equalizer. Or late goal. I mean, it's fun. It's cool to, just blow up once Harvey Elliott scores or once Trent scores the winner late. But damn, it's stressful. Coming up this week, or next weekend, I should say, we have United, who seem to be crumbling. All right? Give me heart disease. Yeah. United seem to be crumbling, guys. And Liverpool seem to be finding their footing. And I do want to say that Alisson made a big difference yesterday. As much as I love Queeveen Kelleher, Alisson made a big difference yesterday. The guy is just different gravy, as they say. I mean, you look at that chance in the first half where ball was nearly in the net. He reached back into the net to get to save, and it kind of bounced off the post, had to be cleared by Trent. That's just a perfect example of maybe a chance that Kelleher wouldn't save. That's what I'm looking at with Alisson. It's even if you have a good backup keeper like Kelleher, the gap in quality is so apparent when Alisson plays. That's just how good Alisson is. Liverpool, top of the league. Liverpool, top of the league. It's, man. Hopefully we can hold it out because we have 37, right? I'm going to pull up the table. Make sure you guys, if you're enjoying the stream, hit that like button. Tony says we would have lost the game without Alisson yesterday, and I agree, or at the very least, drew. But it could have changed the entire momentum of the game. Now, Man City's playing Luton today, so I'm expecting them to win. So they'll still be in fourth, even with a win. Oh, wait, no. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I hate that they do that. Once the match starts, they update the matches played. So now I'm thinking once this match is over, Man City's played 17, but that's not, they're playing 16. Look at Tottenham's form, guys. Their form has gone out the window. Yeah, most of you guys hate when I pull up the table, but I'm pulling up the table today, and I might keep it up the entire time. But let's just take a look at these boys up here. Liverpool. And I saw just don't get Twitter, guys. If you're on Twitter, just delete it. Okay. I get Twitter because it's the easiest way for me to keep up with like Liverpool news because I follow all the major Liverpool journalists. Okay. But if you have a Twitter, I want you to delete it right now because the toxicity that exists in today's world regarding sports and really anything in general is just absurd. And I'm going to give you an example of why I think this because I got on Twitter this morning just to see if there's any updates on, injuries or, whatever. I don't scroll past maybe 5 tweets and I get to this thing and it's one of the, the Liverpool pages, like fan pages or whatever. And it says, it's a Liverpool one, mind you. Is Darwin Nunez an overrated striker? Is he elite? Question mark. And it's like, comment below. So naturally, I go into the thread. Every single comment was, no, he's not good enough. No, he's this. No, he lacks confidence in front of goal. He has great hair. He can't finish. All this shit. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, you're at the top of the league. Why are we bringing up Darwin Nunez? Who gives a shit? It's a team sport. They said, oh, Darwin hasn't scored since November 1st against Bournemouth. He got an assist last match to Soboslai. Like, as a striker, you want to score goals, but if you're contributing to the team, who gives a shit? I just don't. It's one thing if we're losing and you want to bring these up because you're looking for ways the team can improve. You're looking at Darwin. You're like, all right, how can we improve? How can Darwin improve? Oh, he can improve? All right, start Gakpo. Whatever. But for us to go top of the league and then to bring things up like that as a fan base, this is just bringing me back to just delete your Twitter. Delete it. It's toxic because I go on there happy this morning and I come away with just depression, like pissed off. I'm like, dude, come on. Come on. Aside from that, he does need to start burying his chances, doesn't he? He really does. It's kind of crazy. And Hannah hits the nail on the head here. The missed chances are frustrating, but at least he's getting those in those positions to begin with, and that's kind of what I wanted to get at. Is just that he's always in position to make something happen. Okay, even if he's not, the guy's 23 or 24. He's gonna get better. He's gonna get better. But I want to go back to this table, guys. Okay, I want to give a shout out to Aston Villa because good evening couldn't turn Arsenal around. Okay, he couldn't. I don't know. Maybe it was just too early of a jump. Goes to I wanted to say Sevilla, but it's Villarreal. It leads Villarreal to like 8 finals or whatever. I don't know. They had very good performances, and he comes back to the Premier League after Steven Gerrard's failed tenure at Aston Villa. And Aston Villa, granted, they finally got some good defenders in, i.e. Pau Torres. Amazing signing. I mean, God, that was a perfect signing for them. But Aston Villa are good. All right. Now, maybe when you play against us or any top side because let's look who they've lost to. Okay. So I know we beat them. Wow. They lost to Nottingham Forest. That's a weird result. Drew with Wolves. Oh my God. Okay. So they lost to us, Everton, and Nottingham Forest. Okay. So they have inconsistent results. Let's put it that way. And I'm talking in the Premier League because they lost in the Conference League too. But see, we beat them 3-0. They've actually had an extremely easy schedule so far. Oh, and they lost to was that last year? No, that was the first match of the year. So they lost. They lost to Newcastle 5-1. Guys, they haven't played anybody yet. They haven't played anybody. So now I'm second guessing that they're good because they've played Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, and us. Okay. They haven't played City yet. Wait. Yes, they have. They beat City. Holy crap. Aston Villa are good. Okay. All right. Shout out to Aston Villa. Good Lord. But Liverpool, 11 wins, 4 draws, and 1 loss. We've always said on this show that sometimes losses are better than draws just because of the fact that if you look, for example, excuse me, Arsenal have 3 draws, 2 losses, and they're a point back. But we've seen before where like Liverpool will go to the end of the year and they have like 18 wins, 10 draws, and like 2 losses, right? And I know that's not the full season, but I'm just using that as an example. And then you look at like Man City, and Man City have the same amount of wins or around that, 2 draws and like 5 losses. And you're like, they've lost 5 times. How are they above us? It's just because of the wins. Like when you don't go for the draw and you're more likely to get the 3 points going for the win and risking the loss than you are playing for the draw. So we've talked about that before, but Liverpool this season, for the first time, it's working out in their favor, right? They do have the 4 draws, but they only have the 1 loss, which, to be fair, guys, let's think about the loss. Completely unjustified. I'd frankly cross that loss off the list. Liverpool this year are so far invincible. Okay, because we all know that loss was absolute horseshit. Not only did they have to win with an own goal playing against 9 men, but the offside given to Luis Diaz will go down as the worst call in Premier League history. At least in Liverpool's Premier League history. So Liverpool, I don't know if everyone realizes this, are invincible so far this year. That's impressive. That is impressive with a brand new team. I got to give a shout out to Klopp for that one. Brand new team. Let's go down a little bit here in the standings, right? We got Man United coming up. Man United, even though they're in 6th, this is a great example. Oh, this is a great example. Okay. So you see Man United, 7 losses, right? 7. But they're in 6th. You're like, wait a minute, they've lost 7 times, but they're still in 6th? How's that possible? It's because they go for the win. They haven't drawn 1 time. Okay? Now, you're probably looking at me like, Kyle, if they drew, they'd be higher in the table. They'd be in 5th. They might even be in 4th. It's like, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm just trying to say is that Man United are so hot and cold. They're either playing one of their best matches of the season against Chelsea, right? Or they're playing one of the worst matches they've ever played and losing 3-0. There's no consistency at that club. And we have them coming up at the weekend. And to be honest with you, if anybody is scared of that match, it is Man United. Man United players are terrified to play Liverpool right now. And I got to even figure out, it's at Anfield. Oh, I love that. And they have Bayern coming up midweek. Man United are in for a rough week, dude. Now, who knows? Maybe they'll get up for the match, but that's one of those things. Let's go over to the chat and see what everyone's saying over here. Hannah says, I'm even more sick about that loss now. We should be clear in the lead by now had it not been for that. Yeah, look, guys, don't even think about it like, oh man, it's depressing because we're not in the lead, or we could have been in the top of the league Before that, think about it as holy crap, we're technically invincible. Yes, we lost the game to Tottenham. Guys, we had 9 men and Matip scored on his own net. That is the only way Tottenham beat us. They couldn't beat us with a 2-man advantage. And a goal taken away from Liverpool. They needed all of those factors to beat us. That's how hard it is to beat us this season. So that's how I want everyone to look at it. Look at it in that light. Okay. And Glace says when Villa gets injuries, they will drop off like Spurs. I like Villa. I like seeing Villa up there taking a spot away from Chelsea or United or something like that. I don't want other teams up there. You know what I mean? Let Aston Villa stay up there. Let Chelsea rot in the bowels of mid-table. Lucky says, thoughts on the FA Cup draw with Arsenal? Bring it on. What an epic matchup that'll be. Right? We'll see some rotation. Okay. And I want to see, I mean, guys, think about to the last time we played. It was, I don't know if it was in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, but the 5-4 match where Chamberlain scored, where Origi scored the winner. Minamino scored, I think, in that match. It was an epic matchup. Okay, it was at Anfield a few years ago. And that's what you're in for. I think Arsenal-Liverpool is always a very entertaining matchup. I'm excited for it. We only get beaten by officials, says Tony. 4 years ago. 4 years, couple years, last week, same shit. Alor says, afternoon, have you read the story in the Sunday Times about FSG being one of 4 bidders for the PGA Tour, but I don't think we'll invest in January, though. They're separate funds. Everything's separate. They have separate accounts for separate ventures. We'll be all right. I saw Tony said we need a defensive midfielder. Can anyone tell me why Endo went off? Did Endo go off for injury? Why did he go off and Gomez came on at half? Can anyone tell me that? Oh, Fernandez was booked, so he ain't playing against you. Oh, God. Poor United. I'm going to plug my charger in. I just realized my computer is getting low. Give me 1 second, guys. Liverpool, top of the league. Liverpool, top of the league. They hate us because they ain't us. Everyone hates Liverpool when we're doing well. Everybody. Oyvind says Endo wasn't great. Bailey says having Endo at CDM wasn't allowing for enough attacking threat, I'd assume. But he brought on Gomez. Like, Endo's more attacking than Gomez, right? Unless, actually, no, that's not true because Gomez was getting forward yesterday. He was putting balls into the box. Okay, gotcha. That's what I figured because I was watching the match back, and I noticed Gomez on the pitch, but then I saw Kwanzaa, Kanate, and Van Dijk still there. I'm like, no, excuse me. No, yeah. No, maybe it was just Gomez. And I was like, wait a minute. Why do we have 3 center backs? And then it hit me. So Billy says put Trent into midfield. And he is. That's what Klopp's doing, man. Klopp is now officially playing matches with Trent in midfield. And Trent is everywhere. Trent's not just in midfield. Trent is switching the pitch. Trent is pushing forward. He's playing in an 8 role sometimes. I mean, we are actually now officially using Trent to his full potential. And that's the best part. Seeing Trent in midfield is, guys, it's night and day, right? And he had a great game yesterday. It's even at right back when he had to defend. Trent played exceptionally well yesterday. And I know in the past there's been times where he looks great going forward, but he can't defend. And now, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or not. Excuse me. But everything is clicking for Trent. Everything right now. I mean, he is just on it. He's creating for the team. He's getting forward. And it's so good to see the confidence difference when he steps into midfield with the ball at his feet. I mean, there was a point in the match yesterday when I was watching, believe it or not, Soboslai progress the ball. And he had Trent. Him and Trent were running in the channels on the side of the pitch. And they were doing like 1-2s to get down the pitch. And there was a point where Soboslai was like pressured by a defender and he had to get it out of his feet. So he was actually, instead of like doing little feints and dummies to try to like have the defender commit to one way and go around him or whatever, he just kind of dribbled through it and it got him in trouble. He kept possession, but it got him in trouble. But he laid it off to Trent. And then Trent did what Soboslai should have done. Trent kind of like did a dummy pass, a feint, and just got around the defender. And it was almost like at that moment, I was like, dude, Trent is showing midfielders now how they should progress the ball. It was like, oh, this is what you should have done there. There was that moment. And I was like, he's just so comfortable in midfield. He's so comfortable. And I love seeing that for Trent. And yes, how could we forget Mo Salah? 200 goals for the club in 327 appearances. The guy is special. I'm going to type in 200 goals. Even Ian Rush commented. Ian Rush, Liverpool's all-time leading goal scorer at 300 something. 346, that's right. I want to share this with everybody. Oh, wait. I am sharing. Let me pull it up. Come on, screen. Cooperate with me here. There we go. Jesus. All right, so it took Ian Rush 16 years, guys, to score 346 goals. Okay, legend. We all know it. Ian Rush, absolute just god for Liverpool Football Club. Mo Salah, 6.5 years, 200 goals. 6.5 years. Slightly ahead of pace compared to Ian Rush. Slightly ahead. So in theory, unless Salah needs to stay at the club for another 4 years and score at the same pace to beat Ian Rush's record, which I don't think will ever be broken. I don't think Mo Salah is going to stay his whole career. But if he does, that's great. I'm just saying, I don't know. But Salah scored number 200 yesterday. Deflected goal that went in. Doesn't matter. It's still a goal. And even if it wasn't a goal, it would have been a penalty because Curtis Jones' layoff pass, he was just destroyed by Anderson. So it would have been a penalty regardless. And Rush commented on it, said it's a huge achievement in itself to get 200 goals. Not many do that. So first things first, congrats on that. You know, he's sitting there like, I don't want this guy breaking my record. He said his impact has been phenomenal. He's not only a quality footballer, but a fantastic role model for people in different parts of the world. In Egypt, he's a god, and he's given boys and girls the belief they can go on and be a professional footballer. That's the sort of person he is. Mo Salah is a generational player for everybody, especially Liverpool fans. It's very rare that any club, let alone Liverpool, well, actually, no, Liverpool have had a lot of players like this, but it's very rare that any club gets a player of this caliber. And to be frank, nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw Mo Salah coming into Liverpool Football Club and doing what he's done. And if you say you did, you're full of shit. Because Mo Salah was pretty bad for Chelsea. Goes to Fiorentina, goes to Roma, and he was actually really good at Roma. Okay, I think in 1 year he had like 16 goals, 17 assists, or like 14 goals, 16 assists, 16, 14, somewhere around those numbers, right? Really good numbers. But he's not creating waves at that time. So when we played them at, I think it was Yankee Stadium, we played Roma in the preseason. And I remember seeing Salah, I was like, this guy's pretty good. But that was it. That's all I thought. But I think that really signaled to Klopp, like, oh, we should probably go get this guy. Bring in Salah. No one's really expecting much. I'm expecting him adding speed. But again, at the time we had Mane, and I'm thinking to myself, Mane's one of the best wingers in the world. This guy's not going to come in and make much of a difference. I was wrong. He came in and absolutely changed everything. I completely forgot I had this view, guys. Completely forgot I had this full screen view. Mo Salah is going to be missed when he's gone. We need to appreciate what he's done for this club. And I think most people do. I want to pull up some of his stats for this year because he's having a quiet, great year. Okay. In 16 matches, you ready for this, guys? Okay. In 16 matches, and I'll share my screen so everyone can see. Come on. Where's it at? There we go. 16 matches. Mo Salah. 11 goals and 7 assists. Okay. He's on pace, guys, to score more than last year. He's on pace to get more assists than the previous 2 years. In fact, he's on pace to get the most assists he's ever had in a Premier League season. Mo Salah is on pace to get the most assists he's had in a Premier League season. And he is yet again on pace to get at least 20 goals in a season. It is an incredible feat for any player to display that level of consistency. Just give him the credit he's due. Let's go over to the chat. Everyone's talking about the CDM situation. I'm going to be honest. I love you guys, but I hate this conversation right now. Okay. When McAllister was playing in the CDM, everyone's like, we need a 6, rightly so. Playing out of position, it's not it. Okay. Endo has been so solid every game. Oh my God. Stop. Everyone needs to stop. You got to put on Do Not Disturb. There we go. Do Not Disturb. One bad match. Everyone's calling for a new CDM. I guess that's the sport. I'm never going to change it, but he had one bad match. And to be honest with you, you guys heard me at the start of the show. I didn't even know why he was taken off. I was like, why'd they take Endo off? Was he injured? But he has been so solid. So solid. I'm not looking for our CDM to be unbelievable and score from outside the box, even though Endo did that, and create chances. I'm looking for a CDM that protects the back line and can get the ball to his feet, pivot, and find an out pass. That's all I need. I don't need anything fancy, and that's what Endo offers us. But I feel like people look at Endo, and in their mind, they already have a preconceived notion that Endo should be a Rodri or a prime Fabinho or something of that caliber. And it's like, that's not who Endo is. Endo has played in Germany for Stuttgart. He's 30 years old, 31 years old, however old he is, and he is a role player. He comes in, he gets his job done with no flash. Occasionally he'll score a screamer from outside the box to tie it up, and then he leaves. And that's all we need in that position. If you cannot give the ball away, if you can make some tackles, if you can protect the back line, that's all you need to do in that position. All right. It is a very specialized position, but Endo plays it well. And people say, well, we didn't really buy a 6. He was kind of a stopgap. Fair. But he's still a 6, and he's a decent one. And Liverpool are top of the league. Lost one match, advancing to the round of 16 in Europa League. Has he really been that bad? That's all I'm going to say. But I do want to bring up Elliott, okay? Because Elliott yesterday was so transformational when he came on. He was really good, okay? The second he came on, I immediately noticed a difference. And, I wish Steven was here because Steven knows. Like, this is Steven's bread and butter, is that when Elliott comes on, he immediately makes a difference. And yesterday, he definitely did. And the goal, the confidence to take that on and go near post and not try to curl it, because your natural tendency as a player coming in at an angle, even if you're right-footed, is to try to curl it far post. All right. But he saw the angle was cut off. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wish more players did that when they were coming at that angle. Instead of trying to open up the body and with the inside of the foot bend it, I wish more players just cut across it and put the laces through it to go near post, because I feel like it gets the goalkeeper like wrong-footed, because they're expecting you to open up and go far post. I mean, a great example is Salah or Diaz, right? Every time Diaz cuts in, I'm expecting Diaz to go far post. Salah too. But Elliott rips it near post, and to me, that's just between the ears. That guy, for him to score, even though he doesn't score that much, it shows his finishing instinct. And I love that for Elliott. I'm just so proud of Elliott for doing that. Lucky says Project Elliott is underway. Absolutely. Guys, make sure you like the stream if you are enjoying it. Share it with a friend. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick Red said, just let Thiago go, then buy a new CDM and center back. I mean, Thiago's on like $192K a week. That's a significant chunk of change. We could definitely pay for 2 player salaries with that chunk of change. It's very sad, Thiago's tenure here. I mean, when he has played, he's been great, but it's just unfortunate. That hip surgery, and he's had the setbacks. Who knows if he'll ever play again? Excuse me. Inglese says Thiago's back in training. Could be useful addition. Fragile, but skillful. And there's no doubting that. Right? There's no doubting that. It's just one of those situations when a person cannot stay healthy. And the thing that's unfortunate about football is it's such a high impact sport on the body. Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys some physiological statistics here. Okay, so bear with me. All right, if you want to go get a cup of coffee or whatever while I do this, but I'm gonna do it. The highest impact injury sport is running. Long distance runners. Okay. And when I say this, not impact, like it's not an impact sport, but it is a repetitive motion, and it's constant. Hundreds, if not thousands of times, your legs are just hitting the ground, and it's pressure on your ankles, your knees, and your hips. Now, good training, strength training, flexibility training, and joint health all play a role in preventing injuries with this, right? But a lot of times, you'll notice someone who just picks up running, what do they get? Shin splints, right? Okay, shin splints can have a number of different causes, but it's because it's a high impact, repetitive activity. These players, i.e., Thiago, okay, and anyone for that matter, have been playing the sport since they were 4 years old, some younger, okay? Now, they're not running on concrete. It's grass, it's soft, it's absorbing, And they're all very good athletes. They have muscle to support the joints. Their ligaments are healthy for the most part, except if you're Matip. Had to do it. Had to do it. And these guys stay healthy for the early parts of their career because they're young, they're agile. Genetically, once you get to a certain point, your body just cannot take it. It's so repetitive. And there's also high velocity activities that come with it. Thiago, being the type of player he is, he attracts tackles, kind of Neymar-esque. Okay. He's very shifty. So he's putting a lot of torque on his joints. Thiago is in a disadvantage anyway. Thiago's always going to have injuries. Okay. When you look at situations like that. Okay. There's so much torsion and torque put on his joints. He is going to continue to struggle with injuries until he retires. And sometimes once you get to a certain age, your body doesn't recover like it used to, some earlier than others. Okay. And as a result of just those years of impact and just running for miles and miles a game, and then throwing in side to side explosive movements, your body's just like, stop. I can't recover. And that is what has happened with Thiago, with Neymar, unfortunately with Keita. Players like this that just cannot shake the injury bug. That's all that happens, right? Now, of course, you have other sports that are impact sports. You have players getting impact injuries, i.e., American football, rugby, things like that. It's different because those guys are only sprinting for like 10, 15 seconds at a time and then stopping. Okay. Football players, 90, 100 minutes every game, constant, sprinting, jogging, defending. These players are just set up from an early age, especially with the fact that they are playing so much of the sport. There was a documentary I watched. Stick with me, guys. I know I'm going on a tangent, but stick with me. Okay, this is good content. There was a documentary I watched last year, and it was talking about the NBA. And it was talking about how these players are now starting to play from a very young age, and they're playing more basketball than they've ever played. Right? You have players playing AAU now where you go on a weekend and you'll play 5, 10 games in a tournament over the course of a weekend. You play 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a day. All right? On a court, on a hard surface. Okay? Not on grass, not on turf. You're playing on a hard wooden floor. And from a young age, these players are just getting run into the ground. And the thing about when you're young, you're playing year round. Okay. I mean, a professional athlete will play year round anyway. So the research showed that this new generation of players, the ones that play AAU and play school ball and play all these other things like showcases, they are so injury prone once they get to the pros. And they said, why is that? Why are players now constantly injured? Okay. And it's because the sheer volume of their respective sport that they've played, their body is worn down. And you argue these guys are professional athletes and the body has ability to cope with whatever you throw at it. That's true. That's all true. Your body is very adaptable. Okay. It's like Play Doh. You can shape it any way you want if you try hard enough. But not everybody can avoid the musculoskeletal injuries, especially if you're an athlete. So, to tie this into football, the NBA, okay, plays from roughly the regular season starts, but I'll start from the preseason, roughly from the beginning of October to June. Okay, and that includes the playoffs. So if you don't make the playoffs, it's like April or May. Okay. So let's just call that half the year. Okay. High impact. They play 3 times a week, just like the Premier League and soccer and all that. And some of them play throughout the summer in like their international play and stuff like that. I actually haven't seen many injuries in the NBA this year. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe it's because, you know, players aren't playing in the playoffs or whatever. But then I look at the players who have long term injuries. Zion Williamson he's young, hasn't played. He's played like 130 games since he's been in the league. He's been in the league for like 3 years. Like, why is this guy so injury prone? It's because he is part of the new generation of players that have played nonstop. Let's transition it to football. These guys, they don't play 6 months out of the year. They play 12 months out of the year. So going back to what someone asked me in the chat earlier, who gets more injuries? Premier League players or like US sports? 100%. I see more injuries in European football than any other sport. And I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, it is because these guys do not get a rest ever. They are playing year round with what, a 2-week holiday in the summer? And people, we all get pissed. No way, Luton scored. That's crazy. We all get pissed at players who can't stay healthy. Keita, Thiago, we get mad at it. Guys, they have no say in the matter. They chose a craft where they're playing year round, no rest, constant, running 10 kilometers a match. High impact, explosive. Their joints are crying. Their muscles are exhausted. Their bones hurt. And those who are lucky enough to stay healthy, that is truly invaluable. We've said it on the show before, the best ability is availability. A player that is always healthy is worth their weight in gold. Look at Mo Salah, dude. Mo Salah has played in like 98% of the matches he's been available for. I saw this stat the other day. He's played in like 353 or 54, or he's been eligible to play in 354 matches for Liverpool, or 352 or something like that. And he's played in like 326 or something. There was a stat like that where, and those other matches that he didn't play, he may have been out for like a thigh strain, or he may have been out to rest after an international break. You cannot say enough about players who are just genetically gifted and do not get injured. So to wrap this whole spiel up, these players are at such a disadvantage. It is sad because they've dedicated their life to this craft, and the sheer volume of activity that they do, it's inevitable they're going to get injured. If they shortened the Premier League season, or any season for that matter, or do what they do in Germany and give them a month break, which I think they're going to do starting next season. I could be wrong, or maybe the year after they are implementing that. Watch how much the injury rates drop in the Premier League. You just watch, okay? I guarantee it, because the body needs to recover. The body needs to recover, okay? I'm going to just hit you with this last example and then we'll move on. You go on vacation. You travel. We are peasants compared to these athletes, by the way. You go and do a transatlantic flight over to another country. It's a 5 or 10 hour flight. You get there, you're jet lagged for like 2 days. You're like, I'm exhausted. My body aches. I have no energy. I can't do anything. And then you fly back a week later. It's the same thing. You're just absolutely torn up. You can't think straight, all this stuff. We get torn up for 2 days flying and going on vacation. No physical activity required. These players are flying constantly to different countries, and in between that are doing high intensity physical activity for hours on end. And we as fans sit back and have the gall to just criticize players who are constantly injured. And I'm guilty as well. It's just remarkable that we don't actually sit back and think to ourselves, wait a minute. These guys actually are incredible feats of physiological engineering. The fact that they can do this for a full calendar year, 10, 15, 20 years in a row, and if they only get injured for 3 months at a time, it's an incredible feat, but we look at that as like, "Holy crap, this guy's always injured." It's insane. It's insane, guys. All right, rant over. Woo! Everton back in the red zone for now. Dermot says Thiago's finished, just tear up his contract. And that's what, yeah, Salah, Mane, and Bobby has almost not been injured. Towards the end of Bobby's tenure, he was injured pretty frequently. He was out for weeks at a time, but that's okay. Aylor says he is right. Liverpool often hire their own plane to get players earlier back for their internationals. Premier League get no pause or empathy. They just keep hitting us with another early match. And in the early match is one thing. It's just as a whole. These players get no rest. And I feel terrible for them, guys. Now they chose this, right? They chose this occupation. But where it bothers me is they are not getting the respect they deserve from it's all about play more money. And it sounds kind of like naive to just say that, oh, it's all about money. It is, right? The more they can get these guys to play, the more money everybody makes. Now, where the governing bodies fall short, the FA, UEFA, and all this, they're all separate entities. And so they're all kind of in the same mindset. They're all competing against each other, not directly, but just like, hey, we need to get our money too. We need to have the Carabao Cup. We need to have the FA Cup. We need to add another conference league, right? There's always more money to be made. If you look at American sports, the NBA altogether is one body. And so this year, with the in-season tournament that the Lakers just won, they made sure to take into account the fact that these players cannot play any more games. So what did they do? They built the games of the tournament, the in-season tournament, into the regular season schedule. Brilliant. Brilliant. So nobody plays any more games. It's just built in. They need to do that in the Premier League. They need to get with the FA Cup and the Premier League should be all 38 games. It shouldn't be any more games. It needs to be built into the schedule. Now, that's tough because they do it on a point system. I get it. There's so many moving parts, but I'm telling you guys, these players play too much football. And if you want to see the injuries go down, that's what you have to do. Oyvind says we did just win an early game, though, but it wasn't pretty. Wasn't pretty. What's our record in early games? I want to look that up. What's Liverpool's point total in early games? I don't know. Someone tell me. Someone please tell me. Because that's one of those stats you can't look up. It's weird. We won 0 early games last season. Okay. NBA and Oyvind says I have to Google these things every time. Sorry, man. It's just we do things so differently over here, and some of it's great ideas, some of it's bad. Like there's certain aspects I would like to adopt in over here in the States. Like I would love if they brought relegation and promotion in, but we don't have that many leagues. We can't do it in the NFL because there's no league below it. Like, yeah, there's XFL, but the gap in quality it's unbelievable. You couldn't do it. And NBA, there's G League, but again, the gap in quality. It's a great idea, But we've gone as the United States, we've gone so far away from that model, we can't just add that in. It would take a lot. And yeah. But back to Liverpool, guys. Liverpool, top of the league right now. And we're going to stay top of the league because Arsenal ended up losing yesterday. And Liverpool now need to defend this. We have fought so hard to get where we're at, and we've got lucky along the way with Man City losing, Man United just being atrocious, right? And Tottenham kind of falling off. We cannot get complacent. The team as a whole needs to look at this and say, now let's step on everybody's throats. Let's create a gap. Okay? Take advantage of right now and create a gap as big as possible so it's an insurance gap for later, in the season. Because the likelihood that Liverpool go the rest of the season without a loss is very slim. And so we need to prepare for that. And how do you do that? You capitalize on when other teams lose or draw, you gain points. And in the past, we haven't been good at that, right? A great example is yesterday. In the past, I feel like Liverpool would have lost that game, right? Having a chance to go top of the table, Liverpool probably would have lost. But, it is what it is. Aylor says, right now we're 7 points ahead of Man City, even with that Tottenham game. And again, this is because we've got fortunate with Man City dropping points. But what did we do? We capitalized. The team has been really good at capitalizing this year. And Glace asks, why don't they allow the top countries to qualify automatically for tournaments? Then we just have club games, reduce injuries. I should run FIFA. Yeah. I mean, we all should, honestly. It's just there's so many different entities. It's not all one governing body. And so therefore, there's so much you can't, nothing is expedited. There's nothing that's just a straightforward, let's do this, because there's so many other factors you have to consider. You can't take a month off without consulting the FA and the League Cup. I don't even know who runs that. It's Carabao Cup. Is that still the FA? I don't know. But, and then during that time of year, it's like, oh, well, what about the conference leagues, Europa League? You have to take all that into account, and it sucks. I feel really bad for those guys that are trying to schedule all of that stuff. So shout out to Liz, too. Liz, I hope you're doing okay. Thanks for being here, Liz. We all love Liz here. But yeah, guys, top of the league, and it feels so good. Everybody's quiet. The only ones we got to worry about are our fans who are trying to bring up if Darwin Nunez is a flop or not when we're now top of the league. It makes no sense. No one's talking about Darwin until we're top of the league. Shut up. Enjoy it. Sit back, kick your feet up, enjoy being top of the league. Because it's not every day you get top of the Premier League, man. Enjoy it. I love you guys. Appreciate all the support. Remember to like the stream, share the stream if you're new, subscribe to the channel. You guys always support the cause, and we appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and until next time, Reds, take care.